Hi, thanks for joining me on Wilderness with Amani. Fished Pleasant Valley Reservoir this morning, got a bass, got a nice brown in the Lower Owens campground, and now I'm up at the Upper Owens, and I'm fishing the section downstream from Brown's campground and upstream from Lake Crowley. And I was gonna go fish the other side of the bridge, but there's a bunch of people fishing. There's nobody out here. And if you look at my highlight clip 42 and you see a big brown, that came a few weeks ago right down there on this side, well, when there was a ton of people fishing and I just was working my jigs and just the way I know best, and I hooked that big old monster. So highlight clip 42, you can see that fish. But I got a nice rainbow when I came in yesterday in that middle section of the Owens between Pleasant Valley Reservoir and Crowley. I got several browns in the Lower Owens, one in the campground for YouTube and 3 for Patreon below the dam yesterday. So now I want to see if I can't get a nice brown or rainbow, like 18 inches or so, in the Upper Owens. That'll complete the trifecta. Upper, middle, lower. So let's see what we can do. It's about 12:30 right now. I'm not gonna drive home until this evening, so if this is gonna take a minute, I got a minute, but I don't got a ton of time. So let's go down there and start making some casts. Over here, there's nobody out here but me. The other side, there's a few people fishing. Well, here, I just want to get one good fish, and I could leave with a smile on my face. So I'm not sure how I really want to fish this yet. If I want to go fast, if I want to, I'm probably going to do what I did last time with success, and that was try to find some spots where I could fish some deep cross current. And I could just pitch it to the far bank, and then hopefully I can get fish that are holding on that far bank to come on out and hit. And it worked on that big brown several weeks ago, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. We'll see if I can get it to work now. Now I want to fish the undercut banks, but I can't overlook these mats of weeds on the bottom in the middle, because the browns will sit in between those wavering weeds. And that's where I got the best fish yesterday out of. He was right in between that thick growth. And I was bringing my jig about a couple inches under the surface because it wasn't very deep. Here, those weeds show up here and there. So whenever I see them, I got to try to make the most of the situation. Man, it is a heck of a lot colder here than it is at the Lower Owens, man. And I had to put on my warm hat, and it looks like they're going to be skiing in Mammoth pretty soon. There's a lot of snow in the backcountry already. If you look beyond those peaks back there, here's something. I think it's a rainbow. It's the first fish I've even seen any evidence of. And I did what I said I was going to do. I just fished in the far bank. That's where the best action I have comes from when I'm on this situation. There we go. That's a good rainbow. I'm not calling this a trifecta of Owens River. I mean, that's a nice rainbow by any measure. Hard fighting rainbow. Turn around, dude. Other way, dude. There you go. This way, there you go. There you go. He's swimming onto shore. Here's what I did to get that fish. The water's sweeping in right here. So my first and obvious shot was just to pitch it upstream and take it in deep along the current, see if anything was sitting right there. Didn't get anything. So then I started just pitch casting the far bank. And he must have been sitting right on that bank, man, because the second that jig hit the water, I tossed it in there, dropped it just like that, right like an inch from the other side, jigged it twice, and he just nailed it. There we go. Got another one. Got another one. Ooh, there's a big fish. There's a big fish. Woo! Oh, he got off. That was a big rainbow, man. That was like an 18, 20-inch fish. Darn it. Oh, I had it. I had the victory right there. Oh. God, there were two big fish sitting right off that bank, man. That big rainbow was right where that other one was. I didn't think he nailed it. I dropped that jig an inch from the other side. I mean, that's the kind of precision you need. If you drop it any shorter than that, you might not ever even know that fish was there. And that's why I have a special clip in my fishing tips playlist talking about you got to really get your precision casting down, because that'll make the difference between a big trout like that and nothing. Get the camera ready. We got a live one here. I can't believe he stayed on. Big rainbow deep in this hole. Was bouncing it off the bottom. He's not as big as the one I lost already, but if I can get this in the net, it'll be a good accomplishment. I barely got him. Man, I thought I had the bottom for a second, but it wasn't the bottom. It was his fish. Once I felt it was fighting, I was like, man, whew. He was at the bottom of this deep hole. I don't got him good, man. I got to get this guy in the net if I'm going to get him. There he is. There he is. He's in. This qualifies for the Owens River trifecta. The middle, the lower, and the upper. Not in the same day, but in 48 hours. This is a big rainbow. I'll show you what I was doing to get him, man. I was bouncing this thing on the bottom. It was hardcore. You know, I always say I fish jigs a dozen different ways every time. And this is an example. I hit those other two fish pitching a deep section on the far bank. This guy, this pool's really deep. And I got my jig down in the bottom and was just bouncing it on the bottom. And he picked it up. Check out this rainbow. Woo! That is a beast, boy. Look how beautiful that fish is. That is a big, powerful fish, man. That fish fought, too. There he goes, right back down to the bottom of that hole. Woo! So the spot I walked up, there's like this wall right here. It gets really deep right there. And it shallows up over here. And the current comes in and swirls around. So what I did is I soft tossed my jig into the head of the current, pulled it up a little bit so it didn't catch the bottom, and then I opened my bail and let it get all the way to the bottom. Now it's swirling back around, and I was just using the current to bring my jig back down around, and right there, it just sucked my jig right back down into that front of the pool, into this deep water. And as soon as it got in that deep water, I thought I had the bottom, man. That fish was so strong. I thought I was snagged until I felt him flex a couple times. I was like, man, that's a big fish. Big rainbows are just on the bottom. You just run it right by their face and you got a shot. I took this guy right off that deep water, right off. It's coming in shallow. I'll show you if I can get this guy in the net. He's trying to swim under this undercut bank. This is actually a brown. I usually don't catch browns on the bottom in the middle like that. Whew. Get out of that. Get out of that grass, dude. Get out of that undercut bank. He's trying to bank me. He's trying to bank me. But I banked him because he's in the bank. So there he is, he's been resting. This long handle net lets me put the fish in, it stays like a basket, he's in the current. It's really good for him. That with the barbless hook, wet hands, fish has a really good chance of survival. And I'm not looking to keep anything, so that's how I'm fishing. So let's get my hands wet. Let's show you this brown. And I got this guy fishing the rainbow pattern. Usually I get the browns off cover. That's a nice brown right there. Big fat boy. Woo! Ooh, he swam right back where he was. So right here, you just have a kind of a gravel bottom. There's some weeds, and it goes from shallow and it drops off. It's not necessarily that, doesn't look like that much, but since the rainbows have been coming up, bouncing it on the bottom, I did the same thing with him. I just pitched it above the weeds, I pulled it over the weeds, dropped it right on the gravel, and then was just skipping it along the gravel. And I saw his big shadow just swim over and whack that jig, man. Got my brown in the net. Man, what a 48 hours of river fishing. Big brown, woo, woo. Come on, boy, come on, boy. Run on down that stream. He was in the cover where he was supposed to be, and he came right out. He grabbed that jig. Oh yeah! Ugh, got him! There's a whopper! I match up really good with the Owens River with the different approaches I have with the jig that I've built up in other rivers. When I put it all together in this river, it just comes out to a lot of really nice fish, man. All right, this is your big boy here. If I didn't lose that big rainbow might have beat this big brown, but that's a big brown right there, boy. Look how fat that thing is. Woo! I'm wooing now, man. Yes! And I got that fish out of the cover on the side. That's where I usually get my browns. I don't get them off the bottom like that other guy. Man, if you're thinking about going into the mountains above 10,000 feet, I don't know. There seems to be a lot of snow all of a sudden up there. And looks like you could be in for some icy, sloppy madness. And the mountains on the eastern side, if you can just see that poking over the edge, are covered with snow. Those high mountains over there. So I'm not sure. I was thinking about doing a last minute run for golden trout next week, but I think that's gonna have too much snow after the snow this weekend. Man, what a spectacular 2 hours on the Upper Owens River. And I lost possibly the biggest fish of the day, that big rainbow, man. That thing was jumping like crazy, and he just beat me. You know, I fished barbless jigs, and I fished this 5-foot ultralight ugly stick because, you know, I want to have a real hard time getting these fish in. I want to battle these fish. I don't want to, if I had a bigger, stiffer rod, it'd be too easy for me to get these fish in. I want them to strip line. I want them to run. And that was awesome. This 48 hours, starting with that big rainbow I got in the middle section of the Owens I didn't even know existed until I fished it yesterday. The 3 big browns I got for Patreon in the lower Owens. The quick one I got in that swirling water as I was driving out of the campground this morning. And then these 3 nice fish I just got on the Upper Owens. I could make a highlight clip right now just with the 48 hours I just had. But I usually don't like to use more than 2 fish from any one session of fishing. And then I never use the same fish twice. But it was good, man. This was a good trip. And I even got a bass in Pleasant Valley Reservoir. Hey, what do you know? And why do I keep fishing after I got that nice rainbow? It's like that band Sisters of Mercy from the 80s and 90s. They have a song called I Want More. That's my theme when I start fishing. I want more. So This was a great time, great spectacular time, and all my little tricks with jigs came together out here today. I was able to put a good one together. It's time for me to go to sleep now. I want to sleep for a good half hour to an hour before I drive home. I'm really tired. It was in the 20s last night, and I slept good. I was warm. I had my cold weather stuff. But you know, it's you move a little bit, and cold air sweeps into the sleeping bag and wakes you up because it's, you know, in the 20s. So I was gonna have to go find a place to sleep, but there's nobody out here fishing this section of the Owens from Brown's campground all the way to the lake. As far as I can see, I had the whole river to myself, and there's obviously fish, so I don't know why everybody's packed on the other side. There was like 4 people fishing on the other side of the bridge. And I saw that, and I'm like, I'll just go over there and see if I can get anything. Glad I did. Thank you so much for joining me for this fantastic 48 hours of fishing. If you watched the other videos from this trip and you do subscribe to Patreon, you saw that too. Thanks for joining me on Wilderness with Amani. Until next time.